Marc Berman is a major minor celebrity in Atlantic City. He interviews the biggest names in the music and entertainment world, and when he leaves the station, he gets asked the same question time and time again. Who are you?
I'm Marc Berman, and this is my podcast. For today's interview, we go back to 1999. My interview with Las Vegas and Atlantic City legend Sam Butera. In this interview, we talk about Louie Prima, Las Vegas, Atlantic City. We talk about the Rendezvous Lounge in Atlantic City, and so much more. Sam sadly passed in 2009. We hope this will spark some great memories of an amazing guy who was my friend. This is Sam Butera.
Sam has performed with and knows the biggest names in the entertainment industry. In this section, I ask him about just a few of them.
Francis Albert.
He was a nice man. When I worked with him, he was always nice with me. He used to like to hang out with me because we both, we partied. He used to always introduce me to all of his better friends, people that he enjoyed their company. And Barbara was there, everybody. And then it was just, he was a remarkable man. He knew exactly what he wanted, and he didn't deviate from it. He knew how he wanted to sing something, and he always told the arranger how he wanted to do it. Then the arranger went by and put the chart together.
And the great Ella Fitzgerald.
I worked with Ella in New York City at Basin Street West. And that was the old Singapore on 51st and Broadway downstairs. Ella was on the show, I was on the show, and also they had Louis Bellson and his All-Stars. What a band that was. My Lord in heaven. And that's where I met Julie when I played that job. And Julie's at that time, he called it the Black Magic. And then later on he called it Julie's, But and this was in 1952.
These are Sam's memories of the Copa in New York, including a very interesting story on how Sam Giancana helped get him to New York.
The Copa, you remember that movie Casino? Well, I knew all those people on it, that were in that movie. But the Copa, what was the movie where they showed you walking people through the kitchen? Well, that's the way it was when we were there. And this is a true story, Mark. This was 1959, right after Old Black Magic hit. We went from the Shapery in Chicago to the Copa in New York. And Sam Giancana, you know the name?
Yeah. Sam had a chance to go with Louis Armstrong. Instead, he chose Louie Prima. His answer is short and simple.
And the reason I didn't go with Louis Armstrong,
Sam's band is the Wildest. But if you know Louie, Keely, and Sam, you know the band was the Witnesses. So why is it not Sam Butera and the Witnesses today? Here's Sam on his movie career.
Movie? That's why I left Hollywood. Well, we did several movies. Twist All Night. That's one. I did The Rat Race with Tony Curtis and Debbie Reynolds. We did
Hey Boy, Hey Girl.
Hey Boy, Hey Girl. That was filmed in Vegas. And we did one with Alan Arkin. I can't remember the name of it, but I did a movie with what's his name? Schaefer, the guy that's with Letterman.
Paul Schaefer.
Paul Schaefer. It was called Viva Che Vegas. That's right. And a lot of it was done in Vegas. And Paul and I were great friends, In fact, he's the one that got me on a Letterman show. And after the interview, David said, "I see you later, Sam." I said, "Thank you very much, Paul." He said, "You dirty rat, you."
The granddaddy of all variety shows, Ed Sullivan. Hey, Sam, did you perform on the Ed Sullivan Show?
Oh, many, many times. Many times. He was a nice man, too. Love Louie and Keely, boy. We did Dinah Shore Show, Frank Sinatra Show.
How about the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson?
We did Carson. And we did the Joey Bishop Show.
We keep coming back to the Rat Pack.
Joey's a nice, really nice man. Funny guy. And he must have been funny because all of the guys, the Rat Pack, he was part of that. And to be part of that, you had to be pretty strong, man. When I was working at resorts here in Atlantic City during the 80s, the Rendezvous Lounge where I worked there 11 years until Merv Griffith took it over. And they served more drinks per night there than any lounge in the world when I worked there. And, of course, it ain't there no more, thanks to Merv Griffith.
Sam is in the Guinness Book of World Records. Here's why.
When I joined...
You didn't think I knew that, did you?
I didn't think you knew that. Because I don't brag about that, I don't. I really don't. But when I joined Louie Prima, he called me in New Orleans. He said, "Come on up, Sam." It was the day before Christmas. I said, "When?" He says, "Now." I told him, I said, "I can't leave my family, Christmas. I got to stay home with my wife and kids." So he said, "Oh, how about the 26th?" I said, "All right, I'll be there the 26th." I said, "How much money?" He said, "Don't worry about it." And my first paycheck with Louie was $250. And I was making 5 times that in New Orleans. So my wife said, "Sam, we can't make it on this." I said, "It's going to be all right." Well, just before he died, I was making with him $22.50 a week, and that's ain't been a side man in this business that ever made that much money.
And when was that?
This is in 1970.
Incredible.
Correct.
How many weeks a year do you perform? And when do you plan on retiring, if ever?
48, approximately.
How many shows a night?
3.
Sam's very emotional. When anyone asks him about Louie Prima, he fills up. And I did that right here. I asked him about Louie, if he thinks about him, and here's Sam's answer.
When you were working Vegas in the 50s, you'd end the show by going through the crowd. It's now 1999, heading into the new millennium. You're 71, you're still going in the crowd.
That's right. I love him.
No, we love you. How much longer, Sam? You going to play forever?
I don't know. As long as I'm happy, I'm going to stay and play. You got to be happy. When I cease to be happy on stage, it's done.
I don't think that'll ever happen. I've never seen you not please a crowd. Sam, you are probably the biggest crowd pleaser out there, because when the people leave your show, they know they were entertained. They know they visited a show.
Try so hard each show to make them happy.
And the amazing thing is, we're all human. We know that there are some days you just don't feel great. But Sam, we'd never know it.
Some nights, whoever said the show must go on, I'd like to punch him right in the mouth. Some nights you're just tired.
That was probably the agents who said that.
Huh?
That was the agents who said the show must go on. The agents who book you.
I like to punch him in the mouth. Because sometimes you just don't feel it, but you got to go do it.
And that's why you're a legend.
Well, thank God. He's been good to me. Thank God.
Sam, thank you for spending this time with me. I love you. I'll be there in the audience for you every night.
You're my friend. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam.
The Marc Berman Show is always on. Go to marcberman.com for our podcasts of our past shows and interviews.